Good morning, everyone. We are just getting started and getting folks added into the demo, so bear with us for just a second. We will start with some videos on if you want. We'll probably turn them off. I'll even turn mine off during the demo just so we can focus on the screen. And but it's totally fine to have it on now. And if anyone has, okay, great. I think we're all getting in there. So we'll get started in just a moment here. I'm Danielle Varda. I am the CEO of Visible Network Labs and happy to be the host of the partner demo today. One thing I love to encourage is if anyone is willing to go on into our chat and introduce yourself. One of my favorite things is when people come into the chat room and say hello, and we get to meet all of you that do this amazing work around building networks in the country and around the world. And so please tell us who you are and what you do. It's very exciting to see that. And I have to say, I've seen some, even funding and partnership opportunities happen in these chats. So don't underestimate that. And more importantly, even if you have a question, please be sure and put it in there, because this is a pretty special time when we can answer questions based on really, your needs. So if you have something that you specifically want me to address today, this is a great time to put the question in, and my team will text me and let me know that that's a question. I don't check the chats during the call, but I do communicate with my team that way. So we'll go ahead and get started. I anticipate more people will be jumping in and out throughout. So what we're going to go ahead and do is go through today a little bit of background on Partner, and then also do a demo of the actual platform so that you can see how easy it is to use, and how you might be able to get started on it this afternoon if you're interested in using this as a resource for your work on building connections and collaboration. So I'll just tell you a little bit about Visible Network Labs. We are a social enterprise that is focused on building tools and technology and learning opportunities for people who are building networks or using ecosystem strategies, thinking about how systems change can impact outcomes. These are the kinds of problems and contexts that people are using our company and resources and this platform for. So I'm guessing that's probably a lot of you, and you're in good company here today. Our team has about 10 people now. We are a group of data scientists and engineers and communications folks that really focus on how to build and use technology to translate that into practice and action steps and strategies for people and communities and companies, and then how to communicate that back in all the ways that we need to. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. One thing I like to start with is a lot of these are, you'll see some in the past, but Visible Network Labs has a learning lab, and I want to make sure everyone knows about it because it's such a great resource. These are pictures of our past events that were pre-COVID when we got to meet in person. But this is our Network Leadership Training Academy, which is actually ongoing right now. We switched it from a 3-day academy into a 6-month online virtual workshop, which means about 100 people come together once a month for 2 hours and learn about network leadership and how to translate network science and apply concepts of network building into practice and learn from each other. It's just an amazing opportunity. We have an online community that's hosted in Mighty Networks. Please feel free to jump in there and join that community. We also hosted the Network Innovation Summit on May 18th, which was an amazing all-day networks in times of crisis conversation with amazing leaders and stories about what people are doing around network innovation. We'll host that annually now, so look for that next May. And in this fall, we're hoping to launch our online course on developing data-driven network strategies, where you can get into a lot more depth on the things I'll talk about today. But also it's kind of truncated a different way to cover some of the stuff that we do in the Network Leadership Training Academy. And just last thing I want to say is we do have a bunch of monthly opportunities for learning. So I do a tools workshop right now once a month. We have occasionally we'll have office hours open to the public and things like that. So check our events page, and that's where you'll find those learning opportunities. You can also, quick link is networkleader.org. And make sure to stay connected to us. This is where you see all the announcements about the things we do and new updates. So, on our LinkedIn and Facebook are very active, and Twitter. And then also you can always just email us at hello@visiblenetworklabs.com if you have questions. All right, let me just get started. I like to do a little bit of background, some level setting about how we approach this work. I will talk a lot about networks. So what do I mean by networks? Networks are, in our way of talking about them, how we measure this concept of working together. We believe, all of us, I believe that working together is better than working alone. And so some of us are using collective impact models, some of us are doing ecosystem strategies, some are just in systems building work, but we call all of these things networks because what we do is we really think about how organizations, people, and now we're working on projects where these are even concepts and ideas, a lot of ecosystem kind of thinking, are these nodes, and that the relationships between the nodes are these lines. And so just about everything that we conceptualize are nodes and lines. So these nodes can have attributes. They can, have a certain way of describing them, from anything like if they're a public-private nonprofit organization, if this is a male or female, you can imagine this is endless. This is where a lot of our data, secondary data, can come into the work. And then the lines between them are kind of the special part of what this platform does, is measure the quality and the nature of those relationships and really let you understand what happens when those relationships are and those nodes are connected. So the primary method that Partner's based on is social network analysis, which collects data on who's connected to whom, how those connections vary and change, with a focus on patterns of relationships. And I mentioned that these relationships can be type or extent of a relationship, the quality of the connection, and so forth. So when you have a group of, for example, people, like you see in the little map here, and you ask them questions about how they're connected to each other, you'll often see a line with an arrow in a map, and that will determine how that will display how questions were answered. So in this case, Garth would have said, for example, he was a friend of Bill, if that was the question. And you can even use valences to measure that. So here it's a 2, which might mean, about a medium type of connection. It depends on how we define those measures. So I'm going to go into all of that in more detail in the demo. What you're going to see today, though, is what we call our partner methodology, and one part of it. We believe that if you develop an intentional data-driven network strategy, you will achieve the outcomes that you hope for. Because networking, today we call it the network way of working, is so common, there's also kind of a misunderstanding that network development, systems building, or ecosystem design can be kind of left up to chance because we're humans and because we like connecting to each other. And it's something we do every day. A whole nother talk is my Thinking Like a Network Scientist talk, where the big punchline is you are a network scientist and the thing you do every day. There is an assumption that if we just leave it to chance and base most of the work on our intuition, that we can achieve good outcomes. But what we know from science and data is that when we have theory and science to guide us and data, it actually helps us get to that outcome more effectively and efficiently. So what we do, we walk people through this partner method. It's what our online course is, and we do it in our learning lab and with our projects that we work on personally. First, we really ask everyone to shift to a network mindset, which is a different talk. It's actually available on our website. Is really where people can try to get people to think a little bit about the idea that more is not necessarily better. Our platform, everything is based kind of around this concept that more is not better, but that the quality of the connection, the way we interact, and the results of those interactions are what really matter. We also really believe that you need a strategy. You really need some intentional thinking about how you go into this work. And so we have a strategy worksheet that we offer to people. It's free, can walk you through a lot of good thinking around how to build a network strategy. But then tracking your progress and networks over time is what I'm going to talk about today. That's the focus of today's demo, which is how to get data and really track whether your strategy is working. end of the method is like a quality improvement process where we say, you know, once you have that data, you can really adapt what you're doing based on what you're learning and then enact those new strategies and action steps. And then the cycle should just continue over and over again. We think you should always be measuring this kind of stuff. So today, last thing I'll say is, you know, this is a slide that we show a lot, but it's really important for us to kind of explain where we think you can get if you use a tool like the Partner tool. What you're seeing here is a little slide built by me about 15 years ago to kind of describe this concept of how you might build a strategy and implement it. I'll go through it real quick. If you look at the center here, you'll see these nodes, those circles and squares. And if you notice in all 4 pictures, they don't move. The only thing that is different are the way the lines are connecting them. So what we know about a network life cycle is that most networks do begin over there in phase 1, where we say, let's create this network, let's get it launched, let's connect people and things. But we often start by making a list of who's not at the table. That's kind of those little nodes over there that are sitting there by themselves. A phase 2, very quickly usually, is we start to invite people that aren't already at the table and start building that network. And then we go to phase 3, where we think more is better. So we invite people as often as we can to participate, as many people as we can get involved. And this is often the strategy that networks sit with forever, perpetually, with an idea that more is better. And what happens is people start to kind of fade away. They're not sure what their role is. They might not understand how long they're supposed to engage in this, things like that. And so it's very hard to keep attention of people who are tapped out already in their communities or in their, you know, organizations, trying to build networks. But phase 4 is just an example of using a strategy maybe where the same group has, you know, split up into 4 work groups. They've identified 4 kind of leaders to run them who maybe meet very frequently, but maybe these work groups meet, you know, once a month or once a quarter and so forth. And everyone has been assigned a role. They know when they're going to play it. And they're asked to come when they're going to play that role. And maybe they all come together about once a year or something like that, just to kind of build that community up. But what we've learned through our research, and we've been doing this kind of research for about 20 years now, with hundreds of networks, is that when networks move into a phase 4 strategy, that network, they're more likely to be more sustainable and effective. So it's when a group has gotten to this phase, which we believe you need data to get there, that they can sustain longer. This is really based on an alternative to the more is better strategy. And we believe that the Partner tool helps you get here. So what I'm going to do is be able to show you more about that. This is an example of one of our resources on the site, the Network Strategy Worksheet. This is a great worksheet to really help you go through your kind of network on many dimensions, the work that you're doing, and make decisions intentionally about where you are and where you want to be. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the Partner platform. It stands for the Program to Analyze, Record, and Track Networks to Enhance Relationships. And if you just need a quick link, you can go to partnertool.net. It's also just at the visiblenetworklabs.com site. We have users from all over the country. There's actually many more than this, and in 40 other countries. The surveys have been translated into 5 languages. We have thousands of users over many years. The tool was sponsored by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation for 7 years, and then we built a sustainability plan, and RWJF continues to be a great partner and supporter of the Partner tool. And so that's kind of the history and backing of it. We refer to Partner as a community partner relationship management system. We call it a CPRM. Like a CRM, which is designed for tracking customers and building customer funnels, we found that, and a lot of our partners have told us, that CRMs just don't really do the thing they need it to do to really track these network relationships over time. So whether you're doing a one-time evaluation or you are an organization that has a stakeholder or partnership strategy, this tool will work for you, because we use that social network analysis kind of perspective and network mapping way of getting the data in. It's very subtle, but it's a very unique difference in something like a Salesforce or HubSpot or those other kinds of CRMs that just track, kind of one-off partnerships. So or one-off customers in there. And so Partner as a CPRM can be used at one time or over time, but we're really excited about how the tracking over time features are getting implemented into the tool. I will bring this up, but I'm not going to cover this today, but we get a lot of requests, for the person-centered network app. So their Partner I'm going to show you has an egocentric question in it, which means you can ask a question like this in your app. In your survey, but the PCN app is a very specific application of our tools, often used by helping professionals, people who are trying to understand the personal networks of others, be they kids or students or patients. And it's a really fun mobile app like this where people get to draw connections. We have some default surveys there. So the application of this is really to understand a personal support network, get the data on that, get some information on that, and then use it in a person's care, whether you're counseling them about career opportunities or trying to understand if they're at high risk of adverse social connectedness. This is my daughter here, who is the inspiration for our kids app version, a little business owner herself. And, we are really excited about this, but this will be a different demo. So I just wanted to make sure everyone kind of knew why we weren't talking about that today. So I've mentioned what Partner does as a CPRM. We use social network analysis to map connections, track network systems or ecosystems, to visualize partnerships, track how and why members are engaging, measure perceptions of trust and value. So that's kind of a special thing about the Partner tool, is that we really can measure, hard to measure concepts like value and trust. To identify resources leveraged among partners. So it's not just, who's connected, but we really want to know what the quality and content of those relationships are. So we make it really easy for you to find out. We can identify gaps and opportunities, build strategies and action steps, and demonstrate how the network is evolving. The Partner tool was based on a lot of research. We did a bunch of qualitative research to really try to understand how to measure these constructs. And then ever since then, we've just been working with communities and networks to build up a really large database of people who have used the default survey, which I'll talk about in a moment, and also build out a data set like this. And we've published, almost 30 papers using different versions of the Partner theory and data to validate these measures. And so there's just about a decade worth of research that is informing how we've built this tool and how we continue to build it. And thanks to our partners right now, we have amazing opportunities to get to advance that research every day. We do have validated surveys right inside the tool. We call one the 19 question survey. We also now have our strategy survey that matches that strategy worksheet. The 19 question survey can help to measure these concepts of trust and value. If you really want to know, where our core measures are, it's in that 19 question survey. We have partners like Darren Hicks and Carl Larson who have collaborated with us to incorporate things like their process quality working together scale. So amazing ways you can incorporate other scales. It's very flexible. But what we let you do is measure interrelationships, which is kind of what other tools do. They let you measure the structure of a network. That's great. And there's lots of ways that we do that. But we also go to the next level. So you can look at things like contribution or attribution of ties, so you can really explain why ties have formed and if they'll continue to form that way. Perceptions, I always say the real measure of a relationship is the perceptions that we have of one another. If you can capture those, it's amazingly insightful. So having a measure of perceptions and understanding of how members perceive each other is amazing, which is why a survey approach is really effective. And agreement, things like that. So it's one thing to know that 50% said this and 70% said the network is successful, but what's really helpful is to know to what degree members of your network agree on the way they're answering questions, because then we can be on the same page about things. So lots of constructs in the Partner tool. I won't get to go through all of them today, but you'll just be amazed at the opportunities for measuring that are pretty unique to this tool. So what makes it a little bit different? Well, in Partner, you can create these custom network surveys. I'll show you when we do the demo that you can start from scratch, or you can use the templates. But the survey system is phenomenal right now. We've included matrix questions, lots of different kinds of relational questions. It's very flexible. You'll love it. There's also the ability to visualize and analyze your data and track it over time. We've added GIS to that. There's graphs and charts. It's just a full comprehensive analysis package. And then to be able to build reports, learn insights, and share with others is always, of course, really important. But what makes Partner so different is that between the network survey and the analyzer, there's no data cleaning. You can ask 100 questions on your survey and the tool's going to read it. You don't have to make decisions. You don't have to wonder how you're going to actually put that file together. You don't even deal with it. If you want, you can export the raw data at any time, but it's all there. This is my favorite part of the whole tool, because as a network scientist, I've been doing this analysis for years and years, and cleaning data is difficult, but if you're not a network scientist, it's even harder. And then everything is automated between the analyzer, reports and things like that. So you'll just love that it's all a one-in package of one thing, and you never have to leave the platform. So it's no other tool does this. We know we're data scientists ourselves, and community members of organizations and leaders of organizations, and we know the value of making the tool easy. And so we're really excited about what we've been doing. This slide's a little, how-to. So to get started, if you haven't already, make sure you go and register at partner.visiblebnetworklabs.com. You can also go to our website and just hit the login button, and it'll take you to the registration page. We have a little bit of a method that you want to follow when you are here in the platform. The first thing we recommend is that you always add your members. So you can pick from a few network member selection options, and depending on what package you buy of the Partner platform, you get more flexibility. So the standard package is where you can load just a list. And then as you go up into our premium and then custom package, then you can start to have more flexibility with how you use network members selection questions. You can find the method strategy survey or our 19-question survey and use those as templates, or you can start from scratch, but you always want to modify your survey and customize it for your network, for your ecosystem. Then you collect data. We have automated emails, invitations, and reminder options. We have templates that you'll want to set up, and then you can use them. So really awesome data collection tools. And of course, then you'll map and analyze. So all your survey questions, all your member attributes automatically feed into the analyzer to let you do mapping, graphs and charts, network scores, and then you'll be able to do a data export and reporting. You can always get your raw data, and it's beautifully organized and set up because we know the value of that. You can also order reports, or you can always create your own, but we try to give that as a resource. Okay, so I'm gonna just skip over from here to go right into the Partner demo. So I just wanna remind you, if you have a specific question, please put it in the chat so that we can be sure to answer it. And just for anyone who came on a little bit late, if you are just getting into the demo, feel free to go into the chat and introduce yourself. We just love to know who's here, and we're really into community building, so we want that to be an opportunity. So I'm going to click out of the PowerPoint there, and a few things here. So here I am on my Zoom site. So, this is our website. And so of course we want you to come here if you need anything. This is where you can find more about our products, our services, and learning lab. Most of the information that I gave you is here. You can see a little bit about who our primary partners are, meaning those that we actually have big partnerships with that really are the reason that we are where we are, so we can build out the platform. Um, but there's resources. We have amazing infographics and a blog that's very active. Our services are described here, and our learning lab, you can find more here. And then from Partner, you can find more about it. Partner is a CPRM, the person-centered network app. We have a demo that you might be interested in that really described how to use Partner in a COVID contact tracing context and so forth. So make sure you check out the site. You can learn more about us. But when you're ready, what you'll do is you'll go here to hit login or go to partner.visiblenetworklabs.com. And once you log in, you'll come here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and stop my video so that I can focus on the demo right now, and you all can focus on the screen. So you'll see a page like this, and because I've been doing this for many years, I have a lot of projects. So everybody will have a sandbox data set here. So what's nice about that is you can go to analysis or even hit the data export and see what the data will look like when you export it. But there's no functionality here for starting a survey. This is just for you to go play around, and it's just there after you log in. So you should also have a pilot or practice survey in there, and we do ask that you actually put in practice data. So use this with your friends and family, wow your parents with a network survey, but we ask that if you're actually using this with a project that you actually pay for that service. So we're trusting folks, but we are very trusting. So these are my projects. These are the projects I've been invited to, and these are my survey invitations. I can purchase things over here. I can find resources and so forth. So when I have a regular survey opened, I'll see more things. What I can add members, edit the survey, go to emailing and so forth. So I see all of these here, and I get some statistics kind of about it. What I'm going to do today is go here to my collaborations, and I'm going to go to this demo so that I can actually get us into a demo that you should be able to see. Okay, so when I hit a demo, or go into a network, you'll always see the name of it up here. And what you'll see is I have a lot, so I can move around them. So if I have multiple projects, this makes it really easy to manage those. In this particular network, I have 472 members, so it's a rather large network. I can see completion rate and so forth. Here is where I can click on this button and it will download an Excel file of my data. Such an amazing tool. If I go to settings, is where I can sign up collaborators. I can do all kinds of things like change the name of my survey, put in an end date, and things like that. So what I'm going to do though is focus just on how to kind of navigate this. So from here, I don't have any network scores in there. The survey, I didn't use the value and trust score, but those will pop up here. I can see the status if I'm asking people to answer questions. Latest member activity, and here's just a little teaser, right, of my network map. So what you're seeing here is just the network. It's zoomed way out, so what you're going to see is when I zoom way in, it's going to start to look really busy because it's a really big network and my labels are on, so that gets a little bit crazy. So this is just an and this little so an interesting thing about this screen is if I am interested in a member here, I can click here and I can actually go see their member profiles. But I'm gonna just go straight here for a minute, right over to members. When I hit on members, it's going to show me a list of all of my members. So I see again that I have 472. 74 of those are respondents. This is a specific kind of survey that I'm showing you today, which means that we turned on the function that respondents could add others. They could add their partners to the system when we surveyed them. And so there's a whole bunch that have been added by partners, which is kind of awesome that it lets us do this. If I want to know how to add these respondents, what I would do is I would click here and download the template, and it's going to download an Excel file that looks like this. So what I'll do is I'll just fill in if there's an organization affiliated, I would put that here, how I want them to show up on the map, maybe what their org type is, their first and last name, and an email. If I choose to add their address in there, then I can use the GIS function if I have that as part of my partner login. And over here, there's even some ways that we have put some functionality in here for folks to be able to use some of our own coding to do that. So once I do this, I save it, and then I go back over here and I can import the file, and it'll import everything in here. So some things that I would want to do here, and there's also some ways to, through some bulk actions, I can do that work over here. If I want to just add a respondent one by one, so especially for those people who are using this all the time, it's not just a one-time evaluation, but they're using it to kind of manage all of their partnerships. There is some required information I can fill out here, some additional attributes I can add down here, or I can add new attributes even here. Once I fill all this out, I just submit it. And over here is where I can go through and look at all kinds of options for adding attributes. So you'll see in this survey, there's actually 18. If I want to go to any one of them and do some editing, I can. From here, I can look at my members and I can actually see how they've been assigned attributes. This is where, let's say you have data from another resource, like secondary data or just information about these members. Some people are using this in a healthcare setting, so you might have data from an EHR or medical information. That's where you can bring it in here, and then you can assign it to your nodes. So that's awesome, because you're going to see in the analyzer that you can use that data in all of your analysis. I can see that someone asked if their data can be uploaded from other surveys like Google Form or SurveyMonkey, and definitely this is where you would add that in. If you're trying to upload relational data, I can just tell you from experience, just use this tool, because it is so difficult to get data out of a form like that you need, and you'll have to clean it into a network data set. And that's one of the reasons we built Partner, is to make sure that people never have to do that. So yeah, you can take data from those other surveys, and this is where you would load it in. So but this is really great. This is such a good resource, and how you kind of get everything set up. And it is living, it's dynamic, so you can change it over time. Next thing over here I'm going to go to is the survey. So the survey is amazing. From here, this one's already filled out with some questions that people have answered. But if I want to add a question, I'll just come down here and I can select either the pick your own organization, so you can ask people to kind of self-identify, a network member selection question, relational questions, which make the lines in the map, non-relational questions, and matrix questions. And if you choose a non-relational question from the partner database, then the partner, there you go. Then, we have a whole library of questions that you can use. So what we're trying to do is make it really super easy for you to not have to figure out how to construct these questions, and really just use the science and research that we've already developed to do that. So, over here, there's all the features you would want in order to be able to either add logic to your question, move them around, edit them. When you come in here, you can just edit the questions very easily, use responses from another question, add options. It's such a great tool. If you want to use a consent and instructions, you can come over here and do that right here. We add some just a little bit in there so that you won't have to basically make it up on your own. And then here you can get a print version of the survey in case you want to, send it around for review. And you can also preview it online to see what other people will see when they go through the survey. And so it looks like this. This is what your respondents will see when they go through the survey. There's a little bit of, there's a few features that your respondents will see that are not in the preview right here, but what this lets you do is just make sure that everything is showing up right. Whoops, I didn't mean to exit the whole platform there. So let me hop back in. And so after you set up your survey, one last thing I do want to show you in there is your ability to actually use a template and be able to find, you know, whole surveys that are in place already that allow you to, let me go back to that, and I will, let me just, it'll go over here to collaborations. I'll pick the one that I'm using. Okay, so I'm back in here. So let me go back up to the survey feature. I'm having a little trouble with my internet connection today. So here we go. So if I wanted to change the survey template, this is where you'll find the 19 question survey and the strategy survey. If I picked a topical template here, then I would be able to pick from ones and projects that I've done before. So I could go through this list and pick those, or I can pick from other projects where I've already built surveys, or just really start from a blank survey. So this is an awesome feature of Partner. You know, we are determined to make sure that you have good data, and part of that is getting good questions in. So that's what we're committed to there. I'm going to go ahead over to the email. Our email system also makes me really happy because it is so easy to use. So as a user of this system, it's good news. You can build templates, set up automated scheduling, and track response rates. So and here I can see a little bit of an update on, you know, what's going on with my survey. I can look down here and see who's responded and at what percent and not. If I want to edit my templates, I'll come over here. There's templates I already have here, but I can, you know, pick for this particular survey. If I want to send introduction, I can pick that I want to send my introduction email, that template. My invitation email, I can say I want to send invite to, and then I can have these reminder emails. We have a methodology we recommend around sending reminders. There's 3 reminders sent in the first 2 weeks, and then an extension email, and then a 4th reminder. I'll show you that in just a moment here. So I'll go here into automatic scheduling. And real quick, I see there's a question about, can you load previous partner data into the new platform? So here's the good news. I don't know who asked that, but if you log in with your account, you probably have to set up a new login for this. It's already there. So as long as you're using the same email, you don't have to actually do that. It's all set up here for you already. So, you know, go try it. You'll be so excited to see that it's already there. So that's a resounding yes. Okay, on automatic scheduling, if I click here and I say I want to use a partner recommended schedule, and let's say I pick today's date, what you're going to see is this is the schedule. I could send out an introductory email tomorrow. We always send on a Friday. That's the one that says, hey, you're about to get a survey next week. We really hope you'll answer it, and this is why. On Monday, invitations go out. We set thresholds for reminders. So we'll say, like, anyone who hasn't completed more than 70% or 50%, whatever you want to do, you can send, the reminder will go to those people on Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday. Then we kind of give them a little moment. And then on Friday, we say, hey, you still haven't finished it, but the good news is you're going to get an extension of 1 week. And then we send a reminder on this Wednesday, and then the final reminder on this Friday. This is a proven strategy. Our surveys get about 70+% response rates, and it's in large part because we use this schedule. So all you have to do is set the date you want it to start. However, if you don't want to use our schedule, you can pick to send any of these that you want, and you just go ahead and pick the dates you want to send them. It's such a great tool. Guarantee you're going to love it. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into the different steps, and we'll go through. Now I'll show you analyzing. Okay, so now you've got data. People have answered your survey. You know, you've done all of that hard work. And here is the analyzer. So the analyzer, of course, is the reward. This network is big, right? So I've got a lot of nodes in here. What I'm going to show you, it always will start on the last screen that you ended. What you can do is you can look at network maps, GIS maps, if you've put in addresses, network scores, because really the data behind these maps is what is really the gold. I mean, I always say the network maps are the front cover of your network story, but the data behind it is what is really you know, where all of the information is. And then of course, just charts and graphs are really important. But here is the beauty of all of this is that no matter how many questions you just put into your survey, no matter which ways you modified it, it's all automatically going to appear here. You don't have to do a single thing. So for relational, so if I want to decide how I want to look at my maps, and it says show results based on, when I click this, it'll show all my survey questions. So if I pick, for example, you know, I want to pick what areas or activities does this relationship with the partner entail, and then my choices here will change based on what I put in the survey. And then if I, you know, say I only want to look, for example, at let's say those that said they share programs. Well, these are only the folks who answered that way. And if I want to add all the data sharing relationships, I could do that. So this lets you go through, and again, no cleaning. This is just all automated. And then if I want to look at non-relational questions on top of this, so for example, we asked what level of involvement would you anticipate your organization would be willing to contribute? Here are the responses. So let's say I want to show all those that said they're willing to serve on a work group. So what I see here is that any node that has a gray circle around it, those are the people who answered with that question. And you'll see over here a key, you know, this is an attribute that I'm picking to show. So this is really awesome if I want to show a different response, like for example, those that said, I'm willing to meet once a quarter. So now you can see who's willing to meet once a quarter and how they're connected to each other. So you can see that you can pick to show these attributes as different colors, as different sizes and things like that. So if you want to see, you know, who has different attributes based on network scores, you can do that. Right here, I can pick filters. So I could say, you know, I only want to see those that are from certain cities. So I can filter my map in all kinds of different ways. In settings, I can change things like that I want to see show the labels or not show the labels. So that's crazy. So I definitely wouldn't want to show the labels here. I can change, you know, all the colors on the map, show isolated nodes or not. And if I hit to show the ego map, then I might want to come in and just say like, you know, oh, I'd like to see this network and just who they are connected to. This is a big network that kind of has, you know, not as many interconnections as some of the others. But what's really great here, and over here, of course, I can download this as an image, which is, you know, we know is helpful in presentations. But if I click here and I go to details, what that's going to let me see is my network members. So what I'm going to show you this really great feature. So if I come here and let's say I pick, I'm going to pick this member right here. So if I click on this member, it's going to show me a little pop-out box. So this is just information about that I've put in about that member, things, you know, their attributes and stuff like that. But if I come here and I click to view the member profile, this is such a great feature. What you're going to see is just that network member. You'll always see their ego map over here. So in networks where these nodes are connected to a lot of others, we'll see those as well. Here's the information, but down here you'll see for this particular project, we put in information like what legislator that particular network member is associated with, because this was a policy example. Other information, their network scores or their answers to the questions we can put in here. And then we also have, you know, their relationship list. So who they're connected to and how they answered questions about those connections. So you can really see at the dyad level relationship about those nodes in your network. And, you know, from here or from over here, I can explore my network. So if I decide to pick on, let's say another node in my network and I just click on it, it'll click over to that member profile. So you can really do some exploration of your network through these network maps. And then if I want, I can save it as a PDF. So what we use this for is, if one of our, executives in an organization needs to go to a meeting and 4 of these folks are going to be in there, we'll save them those 4 profiles and they can walk into the meeting with so much information. So this is amazing in policy and kind of legislative approaches, but also just when you're going to meetings and you want to know. But as a thank you to people for filling out the survey, we'll often save these and send and hand these over to them so they can see how their data kind of looks as a summary. So that's been a really great feature that we're using a lot. These member profiles have just made the tool so much easier to use. Just a couple more things here that I'll add as part of the demo of the analyzer. So from here, I showed you the network maps. Of course, there's GIS maps. So what you'll see is the GIS map, you can actually see, different base layers. But what you're seeing here is I can still change the network map and the relationships. I can still use all those features on top of the GIS map. But what I can also do is use various base layers. So we have a couple of base layers here, and preloaded. We use a lot of county health rankings and roadmaps data, but you can also ask us to load in your own. And one day we'll have a feature where you can just load in your own, but you can filter similarly and all of that. And then of course, in the map, I can come in close and look at that. The network maps are a little bit funky in cases like this. But sometimes you actually want to see if different nodes have different connections. And if I filter through them, I get a lot more insight into that. But having these keys over here is really helpful. Network scores is an important part of the tool because you can see actual scores about each of the members, which could include network scores themselves, or some of our trust and value scores can go in here. So you get to see all of those things. And then our charts and graphs. So for example, if I want to pick, this will just be, I think, a yes, no question. So if we say something like, what level would you want to engage in the network, you'll see options for different ways to just see basically more typical analysis. So we offer everything from the network maps to GIS maps to this. And again, I cannot say enough how great it is that it's all just linked together. You don't have to do, moving of things around. So a couple things coming for the future is automated reporting, which means that you'll be able to just pick how you want to set up your reports and pick your features and all of that. Right now, if you want to just get a report, we actually will build a report for you. We do charge for them, but automated reporting will come soon. Also, longitudinal analysis and comparative analysis. We do have a feature that allows you to, it's called Networks of Networks. So if you are managing multiple networks, it's a really easy feature to set up your survey. You can set up your survey kind of using a different interface where you don't set it up for each network. You basically just change a couple of fields, and then it applies it to a group of networks. If that's what you're doing, we built that tool for one of our partners. And we also have other things coming. Our graphs and charts feature is actually getting updated right now, so we'll have a lot more of that, and we're trying to add crosstabs in there. So it's just growing right now. We're just really excited about how the tool functions today. It's only going to get better and better as we get a little bit more time to do a few of our other features that we are trying to put in there, and most of those should be done by around December. So we are anticipating launching 2021 with all of the features in place to do longitudinal and comparative analyses and reporting, automated reporting. So that's very exciting, and we'll also be featuring a few new functions like we can do public facing versions of your network. Right now, we just do them one by one for folks who request it, but soon we'll be able to have some customized ways that you can do that, and you can customize your member profiles and things like that. So the tool is just constantly building. Our community of users are the ones that inform everything that we do. And so we're really looking forward to, just all the work we're going to continue to do. So let me just check and see if there's any questions here that I've missed. Can respondents search the network map, or do they have to go through the survey manager? Yeah, so if you want to give access to your respondents, you can do that. In the settings, you can add them as collaborators. You could add the whole network if you want, and they can come in and see it. We also, we know that not everyone wants the whole network to have access to it. So one thing I'll show you, for example, if you click here on the COVID-19, let's see, example, you'll see this is what, I'm going to have to click through this really quick, but what you'll see here is what it looks like for a public facing version of the network. And so this is a public facing version. Every one of you will have access because we've made it public facing and we've given the features we want to be accessible, open to everyone. And so, you won't be able to see everything. You can't see member profiles in this because we chose not to do member profiles as a public option. So this is an example of what a public option would look like. And you can add the member profiles there if you want. So, but that's something we don't give to everyone. It's just a little bit one-off right now in terms of how people want to do it. So of course, what we do always is we build a feature that'll let you decide that. Right now, we have to do that on the back end. Or you can just add everyone in your tool as a collaborator, and then that means you're just choosing to give them all access to this folder right here. Okay, so let's see. I think I got, okay, oops, I missed a few questions here. So, okay, have you completed a network analysis of partners, users at the full scale? We haven't done that yet, but we have a backend database. So unless you opt out of the putting your data into the large database, which is no problem at all, it goes into there and everything is anonymized. And what that means is that we're just growing, collective information. And so our ultimate vision is that you would be able to access data from different communities, especially before you start a new network initiative. We want to make sure that you have all the information possible. So if networks already exist, which most likely they do, then you can be sure to have all the information about those that already exist. So that's been amazing. We have a lot of neat work going on around that. And then also, I did show you a little bit about the person-centered network app. If you are someone who is working at the personal network level and the systems level, also our goal for the coming months is that you would be able to basically integrate these. So if your members are actually patients or clients or students, we want to make sure that and then you'll customize all of this so that you can track them and their personal networks to be able to use in their care or their counseling or their advising going forward. And so we're really working primarily in the maternal child health space around that, building systems of care for kids and their families. And so that's the primary focus that the work and our team at Visible Network Labs does as we innovate through all of these different pieces. Okay, so I don't see any other requests for questions. I'll check the chat just one last time. And great, it's really nice to see a couple of comments in there. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining today. Our team is kind of amazing. We have I'll just finish out with my video back on here. We have quite a few folks on the back end supporting all of this. So many of you have probably heard from Alex, and Sarah Sprung is our longtime person who supports almost all of our users. So be sure to stay connected. Look out for our webinars. We've been doing them once a month now, which are more on topical issues. And then we will do these special demos all the time. Our next one we might do on the app and so forth. So stay connected and give us feedback. Let us know how we can improve and how we can serve your communities better and organizations. So thanks, everyone. We will continue to, I'm going to go ahead and put my info up here, continue to build and innovate, and we're just super excited to see where we go. So have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we will talk with all of you soon. Thanks so much.